The most important takeaway for me from this meeting, it's kind of twofold. One is the number of people from this community that have come out to, in some way, help with the epidemic, whether that's volunteering their time, obtaining more information to share with other people so we can address the stigma as well as the myths. And then the other piece is, I think that the audience really understood by the end that this disease is very similar to other diseases. Other diseases have relapse. The disease of addiction has relapse. That the disease of addiction has a treatment plan. So does heart disease, so does cancer, so does diabetes. And yet we don't demonize people if they don't follow that plan. And I think what folk realized here tonight is we can't demonize any longer. Whenever you think about a disease, you think about who's there to support the person going through it. You think about the environment that the person lives in the community. And just like with any other disease, the disease of addiction impacts the family and the entire community. So for some, it's because there have been so many lies, so many bridges that have been burned, and it's hard for them to understand that this is a disease. They see it purely as choice. And to some degree, yeah, the first time you use it is a choice. But the pathway that this takes, specifically with this drug, and I would say of methamphetamine, it takes over your body, it takes over your brain, it hijacks you. And before you know it, you've lost your family, you've lost your job. The entire community is affected because they no longer feel safe. They don't know how rampant this disease is and how far it can take you. So it's important for the community to come together so that they understand all of the different dynamics and how to interact with people who have this disease, as well as how to protect and prevent others from getting the disease. So in order to help a friend or family member that's going through this disease, one of the things I would definitely say is a protective factor. Protective being, get in a locked zone, get in a Narcan. In case an overdose occurs, you're going to call 911, you're going to dispense that medication. That means that the person can be better off alive, right? We just want to get them alive so we can get them to treatment. The other thing that I would recommend is make sure you know who to contact in case. If your family member or friend comes and says, listen, I'm ready to go to treatment, you don't want to wait. You want to know, who do I call? Where do I go? Go on takechargeohio.org. That's going to have a ton of resources under Get Help. Get in contact with the local alcohol, drug, and mental health board. If it's a family member who's on your insurance, contact and say, hey, what kind of treatment's available through insurance for mental health or alcoholism or addiction? You want to kind of have a lot of things already done so that when that person finally comes to you and says, I'm ready, you've got the resource and the pathway to get them there. My hope for this epidemic, for this specific drug, I see the numbers going. I see the number of prescribing or the prescriptions going down. I see the number of pill seekers going down. I see large interdictions happening by law enforcement. I see people being held accountable for supplying the drugs to individuals who overdose. So I think it's kind of almost a natural progression, if you can call it that, of the consequences other than death are coming. And we're also making sure that children are getting preventive education. They're learning, they're developing what are called protective factors, making sure that they're able to speak to a trusted individual about their hurt, their pain. Go to Start Talking, because the Start Talking website is going to give you things of how do you bridge these conversations with young people to begin with. I see it getting better. I'm hopeful that for any other substance use, whether it's methamphetamine or alcohol, that we continue to see this as disease. It's not just opioids, it's all substances that people are abusing and using illegally.